Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा
देवं
ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And last time we discussed the wonderful pastime of Brahma Vimohan Leela, how Brahmaji, he was bewildered because of the childhood pastimes of Krishna. He saw that Krishna, although he killed a great demon, Aghasur, but when he came to see him, he saw that Krishna was playing like an ordinary child, and that bewildered Brahmaji even more. And therefore, he wanted to test Krishna's powers, and therefore, he stole the calves and the cowherd boys, and he wanted to see what would be the reaction of Krishna. Will he get confused, bewildered, or will he pray to get the calves and the cowherd boys back? But Krishna expanded himself into all the calves and the cows and the cowherd boys, and for 1 year they were like this in that position. Krishna was really experiencing all the relationship with the cows and all the gopis of Vrindavan, elderly gopis. He was giving them all the love. And then after one moment, for Brahmaji, one moment, he just went and came back. But here, 1 year had passed. And he saw that the cowherd boys and the calves which he had stolen, exactly same calves and the cowherd boys were there again. And then ultimately Krishna, he transformed into all these calves, and the cowherd boys, they got transformed into Vishnu murtis. And then Brahma realized that, oh, this personality is my supreme lord. And then in the 14th chapter he offered beautiful prayers. And then in the end, we saw how Krishna, he did not pay any attention to the words of Brahma. And then Parikshit Maharaj, he asked, how is it possible that the ladies of Brindavan, the cows of Brindavan, they had such affection for Krishna even more than their own children? And then Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami describes that Krishna is the original soul of all the living entities, and it is natural for all the Brajvasis to love Krishna in that way. And then ultimately, Krishna, Shukdev Goswami describes the glories of the lotus feet of Krishna. Samashruta pada pallava plamam mahatpadam punyasho murare bhavam budhir vats padam param padam 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 yat vibadam natesham. So one who takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can very easily cross this ocean of material existence. Then in the 15th chapter, which is entitled as the killing of the Dhenuka, the ass demon. So after entering Pauganda, so far Krishna was a small child, and then now he's entering Pauganda. So in Pauganda, Krishna and Balram, they were given the charge of taking care of the cows, and the two boys, Krishna and Balram, they made Vrindavan most auspicious by their footprints. Another place also it is described. Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim yad devaki sutapadambujalabdha lakshmi. Vrindavan has increased the glory of the earth because Vrindavan is marked with the footprints of Krishna and Balram. So therefore, Mother Earth, she is lamenting in the first canto. We heard that when Krishna left this world, she was the one who was affected the most because she was the one who got the maximum association of Krishna. So now Chakravarti Thakur describes that Shukdev Goswami is describing the first day of herding of the cows, which happened on the 8th day of the waxing moon during the Kartik month, and that is celebrated as the most auspicious Gopashtami. So Gopashtami is the day when Krishna was given the charge of all the cows, and that day on Krishna would go with all the cows. So Krishna, he blew his flute, and all the cowherd boys, Krishna and Balram both, they were there, blew their flutes very loudly. And because they were so very joyful, because they were entering Brindavan with the cows. And they wanted to announce, they were so very eager to announce to the residents of Brindavan forest, the trees and the animals, birds, bees, peacocks, that now we have come. So as Krishna and Balram they entered the forest, they looked around the beauty of the forest and they heard the beautiful sounds of the bees, the birds, the animals, and they, you know, experienced the beautiful breeze which was coming from the lake. And because the breeze was coming from the lake, it was carrying the moisture of the lake. It was very, very soothing and pleasing to touch. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually Vrindavan forest was giving joy to all the five senses. How Vrindavan was giving joy to all the five senses? Because first, when Krishna entered the Vrindavan, the bees were very creating a very nice humming sound. The birds were chirping and singing, and the other animals they were also making charming sounds. It was pleasing to the ears. And then the breeze which was blowing, carrying the cool moisture from the transparent lake, it was very pleasing to the sensation of touch. And then by the sweetness of the wind, the sense of taste was also enlivened. So taste was also, the sensation of taste was also becoming very pleased, very stimulated. And then the fragrance was coming of all the flowers. It was very pleasing to the nostrils. And then entire forest was pleasing to see. It was heavenly pleasure. The environment which was created in Vrindavan, it was heavenly. So in this way, Vrindavan was giving pleasure to all the five senses. And therefore, Krishna and Balram and all the cowherd boys, they were enjoying very nicely. And then when Krishna entered Vrindavan, he saw that all the trees, they are bowing down with their nice birds, nice flowers and fruits. They are bowing down to touch the feet of Krishna. They are glorifying Krishna, and Krishna he understands this. But he thought it is improper to glorify myself, so he starts glorifying Balramji. He smiled very gently and he started glorifying. He addressed Balram. He says, "Oh Balram, just see these trees. They are bowing down in front of you. They are bowing down their lotus feet, at your lotus feet. They are bowing down their heads. And these trees, they are offering you fruits, flowers. Why they are offering? Because these trees, they know that they are born in a lower species. So to eradicate the darkness of ignorance, they are bowing down. Actually, the trees of Vrindavan, they are great personalities. They are supremely fortunate souls. Anybody who takes birth in Vrindavan, even though he is a species of an animal or a plant or a tree, is most fortunate. Prabhupada would tell many times that even the pigs of Vrindavan, even the monkeys of Vrindavan, that is their last life. After this life, they are going back to the spiritual world. So therefore, out of humility, they are considering themselves in ignorance. And that is all devotional, ecstatic sentiment. That is the natural mood of a devotee. A devotee never thinks, I am qualified, you know, I am qualified, I am so very advanced. That is the mood of a devotee. He never feels that he is qualified. He never feels that he has advanced. That was the mood of the six Goswamis. हे राधे व्रजदेविके चललिते हे नंद सूनो कुतः श्री गोवर्धन कल्पपादपतले कालिंदी वन्ने कुतः. The six Goswamis, they were also thinking, oh, where is Radharani? Where is Krishna? So our mission, our sampradaya, actually somebody was saying, in your sampradaya, you never find the end goal. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was crying in separation. All the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were crying in separation. So what is the use? But actually the separation in spiritual world is even much, much more pleasurable than even union. Vipralamba is more higher than Sambhoga, because in Vipralamba the intensity of meeting the beloved becomes all the more increased. So therefore these trees, although they are such great devotees, but they are thinking, oh, we are so very fallen, and therefore they are bowing down in front of Krishna and Balram. That should be the mood of a devotee. Humility. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So being humble, that is a crux of Krishna consciousness. Our devotional service rests on this foundation of our humility. And even the trees of Vrindavan, they are showing by their personal example. Even Krishna, he'll tell in one of the future chapters. एतावज्जन्म साफल्यम देहिनामिह देहिषु प्राणैरर्थैर्धिया वाचा श्रेय आचरणम सदा. Just see these trees, they have given up their everything. You know, they have given up their life to serve others. They are most fortunate. Pashyaitan mahabhagan pararthaikant jivitan vatvarsha tapahiman sahanto varayantinah. Even the trees of Vrindavan, they are being glorified by Krishna. Pashyaitan mahabhagan. So Krishna is calling the trees as mahabhaga, the most fortunate ones. Why? Parartha aikanta jivitan. They are living just for others. They are going through all the pains. They are tolerating intense cold, blazing summer, torrents of rains, vata, varshata, very fierce winds, but still they never retaliate. They give everything. So as devotees, this verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, this is a very, very important verse, to tolerate and be humble. Being more humble than the blade of grass, more tolerant than tree. Never ever thinking that I deserve this. We can pray, but we cannot think that we can desire, oh my Lord, please give me mercy, but we cannot demand. Just like these trees of Vrindavan, they are such great personalities, they are thinking themselves so low. You know. Then Krishna sees the bees. There are bees of Vrindavan, they are most fortunate. The ordinary looking bees of Vrindavan, they are most fortunate. So Krishna points toward his finger towards the bees who are buzzing, and he is telling, oh Balramji, just see these bees. They must be the great sages. They must be the elevated devotees. That's why they are chanting your glories. They are, you know, they are glorifying you, and you are the holy place of pilgrimage yourself. And although you are in disguise, people don't know you as the Supreme Lord, but these bees, they are most exalted because they are able to go to the secret places, confidential, secluded places where you go and perform your pastimes. Nobody is allowed to go there, but the bees, they go. And you don't take offense also. That is the supremost position of the bees of Vrindavan. They can go anywhere. They can see all the wonderful intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna and Balram with the gopis. So Jiva Goswami says that they may be perhaps the great sages, and therefore they are your greatest worshippers. There are sages who worship you silently, but these bees, they come in groups, and they are your constant followers. So they are the chief of the sages. And he points towards the peacocks. Just see these peacocks, they are dancing and they are glancing at you. These cuckoos, they are singing your glories. And their behavior towards you befit great souls, because a great soul knows how to welcome other great soul, because now you have entered their home, because Vrindavan is a place of home for all these birds and cuckoos and peacocks. So Krishna is saying, oh, they are welcoming you. So after glorifying Balramji, now Krishna, he describes the service of the trees and other animals. He says, just see, and he glorifies Mother Earth also. He says, just see this earth. This earth has become most fortunate. Why? Because you have touched her grass. You have touched her with your fingernails. And these mountains, these rivers, these animals, they have become most fortunate because you have glanced over them. And on top of that, most fortunate are the Brajvasi gopis, the young damsels of Vrindavan, because you have embraced them. So therefore, Chakravarti Thakur writes that earth is fortunate because the grass which is growing on the earth, the grass is like the hairs on the body of Mother Earth. They are touched by the feet of Balram. The trees and creepers, they are most fortunate because many times Krishna and Balram, they would go and they would pluck some flowers, some leaves from the trees and some creepers, and they would decorate their bodies. So by the touch of the uh, fingernails, the trees and creepers have become fortunate. And then he says the rivers and the mountains, they have become fortunate because you have glanced over them. That is a supreme position of the even mountains and trees of Vrindavan, because Krishna is glancing on them, Balramji is glancing on them. And then what to speak of the gopis? Gopis are being embraced by by Balramji. Balramji also had a different set of gopis, and Krishna also has a different set of gopis. Lakshmi Devi, she is desiring. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he writes a Puranic story. He says actually Lakshmi, she was performing tapasya. because when she saw the most beautiful pastimes of Krishna, she wanted to take part in the pastimes of Krishna. So she was doing tapasya. So Krishna asked her, "Why are you doing tapasya, O Lakshmi? Why are you doing austerities?" Lakshmi Devi said, "I want to take part as a gopi and enter your pastimes. I want to become a gopi." So Krishna said, "It is very, very difficult for you." Then Lakshmi Devi said, "Okay, at least allow me to be on your chest in the form of a Srivatsa." That is the supremest position of the gopis. They are being embraced by Krishna and Balram, and Lakshmi Devi is not even allowed. So that is the wonderful position of all the Brajvasis. They are supreme most devotees of Krishna. And then Krishna, Shukdev Goswami, he continues that, okay, yeah. So Shukdev Goswami continues that Krishna, as he was enjoying with all his cowherd boys the wonderful forest of Brindavan, he brought all his friends to Yamuna below Govardhan Hill, some place near Govardhan Hill. Yamuna was flowing, and Krishna, he told the Gopas that you uh, take rest here at Govardhan, and then after that you proceed to the bank of Yamuna, and I'll come very quickly. So actually, where did Krishna go? So Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually now Krishna has entered the Pauganda, Kaishore age. He's entering Kaishore age. So he started his uh, pastimes with the gopis. So in between, Krishna would leave the cowherd boys sometimes, and then he would go and enjoy in the association of the gopis. And that's how Krishna would satisfy even all the gopas and the gopis also. And then Shukdev Goswami says that in Vrindavan, honeybees sometimes they become so intoxicated drinking the honey from the flowers. They become completely intoxicated and they cannot even see. They become mad in ecstasy. And therefore, Krishna, sometimes what he would do, he would imitate the dancing of the honeybees. Sometimes he would imitate the bees, and the friends would sing the pastimes of Krishna. Other times, Krishna would imitate the dancing of the peacocks. Other times, he would imitate the cooing of the swans. He would imitate the wonderful gestures which peacocks make. And Krishna would say, "Oh, peacocks, you don't know how to dance. I will teach you how to dance." That's how he would make such wonderful movements, and all the Gopa friends would laugh. Sometimes Krishna would speak in a voice as grave as the rumbling of a cloud, and he would call all the cows by the names, and all the cows they would come running. In this way, Krishna, he spent his days in Vrindavan forest. And actually, this was a daily event. Daily, Krishna would go to the forest and he would enjoy with his cowherd boys and the cows. Actually, we have heard in the 12th chapter that Krishna, when he was an infant, he would perform the same type of, pastimes. He would play in the same ways. But there is a difference. When he was infant, he would play for just for the matter of playing. He would enact all these pastimes. He would imitate these movements of the birds and the peacocks as a matter of play. But now he was doing it to give happiness to all the cowherd boys, and he was in a very joyous mood. That's why he would imitate all these movements of the birds. He would imitate cuckoos, chakravak. Then there are birds called bharadwaj, craunch, cranes, peacocks. He would imitate. Sometimes he would mock, and he would be fearful because of the lions and the tigers, and he would run away along with the small animals. That's how Krishna would spend his time in Vrindavan. Kvachit krida parishrantam gopotsangopabarhanam swayam vishramayatyaryam pada samvahanadibhi. So now, after playing and running after, all the birds and the doing so many things, sometimes Balram he would become tired. So what he would do? So he would lie down and on the lap of one of his friends. And Krishna, Pada Samvahanadibhi, Krishna would massage the feet of Balramji. And Adi means he would do some other things also. Chakravarti Thakur writes. He would bring him water from the Yamuna, he would fan him also, and he would massage his feet also. And sometimes Krishna, as he was, Balramji, as he was he would be taking rest. All the other cowherd boys, they would dance and they would sing the glories of Krishna and Balram just to give pleasure to them. And sometimes Krishna would become tired, rest and playing all these games. That time, what the cowherd friends would do? क्वचित् पल्लवतल्पेषु नियुद्धाश्रमकर्षितः वृक्षमूलाश्रयश्चेते गोपोत्सङ्गोपबर्हणः. So Kvachit, sometimes when Krishna he would become tired of the all these activities, he would also take rest. He would have beads of perspiration on his face, Shrama Karshita, because of the intense labor of playing. He would have perspiration on his forehead. So he would lay down at the base of the tree, making one of the cowherd boy's lap as pillow. Actually, because there are so many cowherd boys, everybody wants that Krishna should, come and take rest on my lap. And many times, Krishna, all these cowherd boys, they would make bed. Pallava toye talpeshu. They would make beds out of very delicate leaves and the flowers and the birds. And because there are so many cowherd boys, they would make different beds. Sometimes there would be many beds. So Krishna, what he would do, he would be so very happy seeing all this. He would expand himself and he would become as many beds, as many Krishnas. And that sound, nobody would know that, oh, Krishna has expanded. And everybody would think, oh, Krishna is taking rest on my bed only. पादसंवाहनं चक्रो केचित्तस्य महात्मनः अपरे हतपाप्मानो व्यजनैः समवाजियान्. So these Gopas who are playing with Krishna, they are not ordinary children. As Shukdev Goswami had told earlier also, that these Gopas, they are such great devotees. These Gopas, they have accumulated millions of lifetimes of pious activities. Krita Punya Punjaha. That's why they are getting a chance to play with Krishna. They are not ordinary people. That Supreme Lord who is worshipped by Gyanis, by the yogis, that Supreme Lord is playing with all these children. It is not an ordinary thing. So Hata Pap Mano means they are purified of all their sinful activities and they would massage the feet of Krishna. Pada Samvahanam Chakru. Sometimes they would fan the Supreme Lord. Other boys would sing very wonderful, pleasing, sweet songs suitable for sleep, just to please Krishna. एवं निगूढ़ात्मगति स्वमायया गोपात्मजत्वं चरितैर्विडम्बयन् रेमे रमालालितपादपल्लवो ग्राम्ये समं ग्राम्यवदीश चेष्टितः. evam nigudha atma. So Krishna, he concealed his transcendental opulence by his internal potency. So all the cowherd boys, they didn't know who is Krishna. That is a similarity between a atheist and a Brajavasis. They don't accept Krishna as supreme. So these small cowherd boys, they always thought, oh, Krishna is our friend and he will be there for me. He will save us. But they never accepted him as the supreme lord. Nigudatma gati swamayaya. And therefore Krishna acted as the son of a cowherdman, Gopatmajatvam, Gopa Atmaja. And in this form he performed so many wonderful, beautiful pastimes. Reme Ramala Litapada Pallavo, the lotus feet of Krishna, who is attended by the goddess of fortune. That supreme Lord Vishnu, who is massaged by Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is always engaged in massaging the feet of Krishna or Vishnu. Janodvayam jala jalochanaya jananya lakshmyakhilस्य survanditaya vidhatu urvornidhaya karapallavarochishayat samlalitam hridhi vibhora bhavasya kurayat. So this is the glorification of the calves of the Lord and Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is always found massaging the feet of Lord and calves of the Lord. That Supreme Lord who is served by Lakshmi Devi, thousands and thousands of Lakshmis are serving Krishna, and that Krishna has become the son of a cowherd man of Nanda Maharaj. And therefore, Krishna is enjoying with all the cowherd boys. He's performing so many pastimes. And he exhibited many feats which only Supreme Lord could perform. So after saying this, Shukdev Goswami, he describes what happened the first day, So this pastime happened on the day of Gopashtami. First day when Krishna was given the charge of the cows, and Krishna was there in the forest with all the cowherd boys. So Sridama, Stoka Krishna, Subala, and all the other cowherd friends, they were there. Sridama is the foremost of the Gopa friends. So they all spoke. They very lovingly they spoke. Chakravarti Thakur writes that Stoka Krishna, when this Stoka Krishna looks very similar to Krishna. So his father gave his name Stoka Krishna, gave him the name so that he could always remember Krishna. So the boys, they spoke. They spoke out of love. What did they speak? They said, Rama Rama Mahabaho Krishna Dushta Nibarhana Iti Avadure Sumahad Vanam Talali Shankulam. O Rama Rama Mahabaho, O Mahabaho, O Balram, you are most powerful. Krishna Dushta Nibarhana. O Krishna, you are chastiser of all the wicked people. Iti Avadure, not very far from here, there is a great forest of Talwan. Where is the forest of Talwan? So Varaha Puran describes that 1 yojana away from Vrindavan, there was a forest of Talwan. On the western side of Mathura, 1 yojana far, there was a forest of Talwan. So basically, Talwan was situated between Mathura and Govardhan hill. So the boys, they are telling, Oh Krishna, you are most powerful. And oh Ram, you are very expert in chastising the wicked. There is a forest of Talwan nearby. Why are they telling this? They are telling out of love. They are not interested in the fruits. They are not interested in getting the demon killed, but they are expressing this request as a matter of loving Krishna, because they want to see the wonderful, pastime of Krishna's display of power. And Chakravarti Thakur writes, sometimes the nature of love is such that it is expressed as a request for a desirable object. The friends are these Gopa friends, they are not desiring anything. Their only desire is to please Krishna. That is called Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. That is the aspiration of a devotee. That's what we are aspiring for. Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. At present, our bhakti may be covered with so many of the desires, but that is the goal. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. We should aspire to be on that, come to that level one day. And for that, we have to struggle. We have to give our best. Otherwise, it is not so easy. As it is described in Bhagavatam, that if we are not endeavoring enough, Shrunvata Swakatha Krishna, Shrunvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grinatascha Swacheshtitam, Grinatascha Swacheshtitam, Kalena Nati Dirghena Bhagavan Vishateridi. If we are sincerely endeavoring to hear and chant, then very quickly Krishna will enter the heart. Bhagavan Vishate Ridi. The problem is many times we don't endeavor sincerely and eagerly. We don't put our best, but we should know that time is passing by, you know, and sometimes we think, oh, I am practicing since last 10 years or 15 years, but still I have not done anything much. Still I have to struggle to chant. Still I have to struggle to read Bhagavatam. Still I have to struggle to do some seva in the right attitude. Many times it is happening because we have not put our heart. If we put our heart every day, struggling to the best of our capacity, then Krishna will definitely give that taste. And then the pure bhakti, Uttama bhakti will manifest one day. So basically, it all starts with our desire. Are we desiring enough? Are we eager enough? Because eagerness is the price we have to pay. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti sukritir na labhyate. Only price we have to pay is we have to be eager. If we are not eager, then Krishna will not give that pure devotional service so easily. Many lives will pass if we are not eager. So these boys, they have only one thing in their mind. They want to please Krishna. So therefore, and they want to see the wonderful activities of Krishna. So when they tell, okay, there is a forest nearby, so tell, well, so what? Krishna may think, well, so what? What are you expecting? So the cowherd boys, they are expecting this reply from Krishna. So they say, in that Talwan forest, there are wonderful, very delicious, sweet fruits. Many fruits are already fallen on the ground, and many are so ripe that they are falling from the trees. And they are so very delicious. So Krishna may say, okay, now, okay, if you want, you go and get those fruits. Why are you telling me? Actually, there is one problem there. There is a demon called Dhenuka. Dhenuka Sur is guarding that forest. All the fruits of that Talwan, they are so very juicy and delicious. But the problem is, Dhenuka Sur does not allow anybody to come near that. And Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually this incident of this killing of Dhenukasur, it happened after Kalia Daman Leela. Kalyadaman is the next chapter, but it is spoken previous to that. It is spoken before that. So Dhenukasur, they say Dhenukasur is the most powerful demon, and this demon is in the form of an ass, and he is surrounded by all his friends. They are very, very powerful. These Dhenukasur, how powerful he is? He has eaten men alive. People, even animals, they are so very fearful of this demon. They don't want even to go near that forest. What to speak of animals? Even birds do not fly over Talwan forest. They are also fearful. But actually, O Krishna and O Balram, the fruits of this Talwan is they are so very delicious, and nobody has tasted those fruits. Even just the smell of those fruits is so very intoxicating, and the smell is coming till here. So even one yojana away, they are smelling the fragrance of the fruits of tal. So Krishna, when he heard this, so then they say, "Oh Krishna, so please go and get those fruits for us. Oh Balram, we cannot just stop now. Our minds are so very attracted. Please fulfill our desires." And if you think, then after submitting all these things, then they say, if you think that it is a good idea, then let's go to the forest of Talwan. And very interestingly, after they express all their desires, then they say, "Agar aapki ichha ho, to hum chalte hain." So that's how they are also telling. So then, after this, Krishna and Balram, they laughed. They smiled and laughed, hearing the desires of all the Gopas and desiring to please the friends, because Krishna is always ready to fulfill the desires of his devotees. So Krishna and Balram, they went along with friends to this Talwan forest. And Krishna was thinking, just see, we'll see how formidable this demon is. Let's go and, you know, see this demon. So all the cowherd friends, they became so very happy when Krishna and Balram, they agreed to their proposal. They started laughing and jumping, and they went there. When they reached this place, Krishna, he thought, I have killed so many demons, so let Balram enter this forest first. So Balram, he first entered the forest, and he began shaking the trees just like a mad elephant shakes the tree. Balramji started shaking the trees, and all the fruits, they started falling down. All the Gopa friends, they became so very happy to see so many fruits falling. But one person was not happy. But when this Dhenukasur, he heard the sound of the falling of these fruits, he ran to attack Balram. And as he was running, he was so very powerful. He was not an ordinary demon. Earth was trembling when he started running. He ran and came exactly to the place where Balram was there, and he hit Balramji's chest with his foot, with his front legs, and he started braying very loudly in his donkey voice. Very happy, he was rejoicing, I have hit this personality. And again he moved towards Balram, and this time he turned back, and with his hind legs he hit Balramji again. And Balram, this time, he caught hold of the hind legs of Dhenukasur by his hooves, whirled him around so violently, just with one hand. He didn't use even two hands, just with one hand, he whirled it around and threw it so high that this Dhenukasur, he landed on the top of a tal tree. Just because of the wheeling, just because of the violent motion, whirling of this uh, demon, the demon left his body. The life air of this Dhenukasur left the body. So Balramji threw Dhenukasur on the top of the tal tree, and the tree, because of the weight of this Dhenukasur, got knocked down, fell down with all the trees. All the other trees nearby, they also fell. When this huge tree fell down, and so many other trees in the forest fell down, it created a huge, wind. And Shukdev Goswami says, my dear Parikshit, it is not very astonishing. Killing of Dhenukasur in this way, it is not astonishing. Naitachitram bhagavata hyanante jagadishware otaprotamidam vishwam tantushvanga yatahapatah. He says, oh Parikshit Maharaj, this killing of Dhenukasur is not something great. Who is this Balram? Are he is holding the entire universe on his head as Ananta. Anante Jagadishware. He is Jagada Ishwara. So we have to understand that this Balramji, he is not an ordinary personality, he is a supreme personality. And for him to kill this Dhenukasur is insignificant. And he says that indeed the entire world, entire cosmos rests upon him as the cloth rests on the horizontal and the vertical fibers of a cloth. So therefore, in between, Shukdev Goswami, he keeps describing, keeps telling Parikshit Maharaj, don't be amazed by seeing the power of Balramji. So therefore, as a devotee, we should always be aware of the Bhagavatta of the Lord. Who is the Supreme Personality who is doing all these, pastimes? When we heard that how Krishna is he's putting the sandalwood of Nand Maharaj on his head. He's playing, he's stealing butter, he's becoming puppet in the hands of gopis. That supreme, this personality is not an ordinary personality. So all the pastimes of Krishna and Balram, they are just insignificant display of the powers of the Supreme Lords. Because nobody can understand in full, even Krishna cannot understand in full his own powers. Shesha, since the beginning of creation, he is counting the qualities of the Lord, he has not come to an end. We heard one of the prayers of Brahmaji. Gunatmanaste api gunan vimatun hitavatirnasya ka ishirasya kalena yarve vimita sukalpai bhupam sava khemihika dyubhasya. In due course of time, somebody may count even the uh, grains of the sand. Somebody may count the snowflakes. Somebody may count the rays of the sun. But still, nobody can count the qualities of Krishna. So the potencies of Krishna are unlimited. So therefore, Shukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, this is not an extraordinary thing. Killing Dhenukasura is nothing. Vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekam shena sthito jagat. That's what Krishna is telling to Arjun. I hold this entire universe with just one fraction of my power. So it is not very astonishing for me to, maintain this universe. So when Dhenukasur is killed, all the other ash demons, they are really ash. They don't have the intelligence that Dhenukasur is killed, then why should we go and fight with this personality? All the other demons, they became so very angry. They started charging towards Krishna and Balram, and they attacked Krishna and Balram. Krishna and Balram, they seized all of them by their hind legs and threw them on the palm trees, on tal trees. And all the demons, they were of different colors. So when the tal trees, they They landed on the tall trees. The tall trees fell. The entire earth became colorful because of the color of the ashes. And there was there were so many fruits. All the gopas, they became so very happy because now they got to see the supreme power of Krishna, and they got all the fruits also. So when devatas, they heard of this feat, they came to that place and they saw. They started showering flowers, and the apsaras started dancing, and gandharvas, they played music. And people of Brindavan, who were so very fearful so far because of this Dhenukasur, they were not even able to enter this Talwan. But now they all became free of the fear. They very happily they would enter this forest, they would take the fruits, and the cows would graze there freely. Such is the wonderful pastime of Krishna killing Dhenukasur. And then Shukdev Goswami describes how Krishna is returning home. So returning of Krishna and Balram is also very very beautiful event. Krishna Kamalapatraksha Punyashravana Kirtanah Stuyamano Anugairgopai Sagrajo Vrajamavrajat. So Krishna Kamalapatraksha, lotus-eyed Krishna, who is Punya Shravana Kirtana, who is whose glories are most pious. So nothing is more auspicious than glorification of the Lord. So people, they may do so many things to become pious, but supremely pious thing is to glorify Krishna, to glorify the holy names of the Lord, glorify the pastimes of the Lord. अहो अहो भिर्नकलेर्विदूयते सुधा सुधारा मधुरं पदे पदे दिने दिने चन्दन चन्द्र शीतलं यशो यशोदा तनयस्य गीयते. So the pastimes of Krishna, they are so very sweet. Sudha Sudhara, it is the river of nectar. So for Krishna, for the Brajvasis, for them, the glories of Krishna and Balram, they are so very sweet. All the cowherd boys, as they are returning with Krishna and Balram, they are glorifying. They are singing the pastimes of Krishna and Balram. And in this way, they returned to Braja. Kaviraj Goswami also describes the beauty of Krishna. सईता माधुर्य सार अन्य सिद्धि नाही तार तीहो माधुर्यादि गुण खणी आर सब प्रकाशे तार दत्त गुण भासे याते यत प्रकाश कार्य जानी. Seita Madhurya Sar. Krishna's body is a quintessence of all the beauties. Anya Siddhi Nahi Tar. There is nobody greater than Krishna in beauty. Tiho Madhuryadi Guna Khani. He is the mine of all the beautiful things. All the wonderful avatars of the Lord, whatever beauty they may have, Krishna's beauty is unimaginably greater than all the other avatars. The sweetness which Krishna displays when he comes as two-handed form, his original form. कृष्ण रयते का खेला सर्वोत्तम नर लीला नर वपु तहार स्वरूप गोपवेश वेणुकर नव किशोर नटवर नर लीला होए अनुरूप. So when Krishna appears in this world and performs all the wonderful pastimes, Gopavesh, he has a Gopavesh holding a flute, very youthful Navakishore, dressed as a dramatic dancer. Nara Leela Hoye Anurup, wonderful pastimes he performs. So when Krishna is returning from the forest, the gopis and the cowherd elderly ladies, whole day they would be in separation from Krishna. They would be just looking when Krishna will return. So first, in two verses, Krishna, Shukdev Goswami, he describes the position of gopis. He describes the he describes the uh, young cowherd damsels of Braja. What type of affection they had for Krishna. Tam gorajashchurita kuntala baddha barha vanya prasuna ruchirekshana charuhasam venum kvanantamanugairupageeta kirtim gopyo didrikshata disho abhyagaman sameta. So now the beauty of Krishna is described. When Krishna is returning, all the calves are there in front because of the uh, movement of the cows. The dust is raising, and the dust of Braja is covering the body of Krishna. The hairs of Krishna, they have turned ashen because of the dust. Tam gorajaschurita kuntala baddha baraha. Krishna has a beautiful curly locks of hair on his face, on his forehead, on his cheeks. He had a beautiful peacock feather on his head, but those feathers and the hairs, they were covered with go raja churita because of the cowherd, because of the cows, movement of the cows, the dust which was being raised, it was there on the hair of Krishna. What else is there? Vanya prasuna. He is wearing a garland of forest flowers. Vanya prasuna ruchirekshana. Very beautiful eyes. He glanced charmingly towards the gopis. Charuhasam, and he smiled very beautifully. Venum Kwanantam, and he is playing his flute. And all the cowherd boys, what they are doing? Upagita Kirtim, Anugair. Anugai means they are following Krishna and they are singing the glories of the Krishna, their pastimes of Krishna. And the gopis, Gopyo Didrikshata Drisho, for gopis, they all came together forward and met to meet him. Their eyes were so very eager to see him. They were in separation whole day. For gopis, even one moment of separation, it was like yugas. Yuga itam nimeshena. So gopis, they came and they were just looking at Krishna, and then they realized, oh, they should not look at Krishna in public. So they wanted to, uh, you know, turn their eyes away. But the eyes could not follow the orders of the gopis. And gopis, they wanted to give up watching Krishna because it was not good in public. But the eyes, they refused to follow the order of the gopis and they became independent because they were being jealous of the ears. Ears are hearing Krishna's flute and nostrils are smelling the fragrance of Krishna. So why should we not see the beauty of Krishna? So therefore, eyes, they gave up the shelter of the gopis and the gopis could not even stop looking at Krishna. And they ran out of the homes. The husbands and the relatives and the elders and the brothers, they are there. So they are telling, are you going to stop us and are you going to stop me and kill me? So in that sense, they just ran. They didn't even look at them. So that is the intensity of the gopis of Vrindavan. Out of the intense eagerness, they went and they gathered on the path where Krishna would come. And then, what did the gopis do when they approached Krishna? Pitva mukunda mukhasaragaham akshibringai tapam jahu virahajam brajayoshitoni tat satkritam samadigamya vishesha goshtham sa vridaha savinaya yadapanga moksham. Pitva, they drank the beauty of Krishna through their eyes. Just like the honeybee goes towards a parijat and sits there and gets completely satisfied. Parijate anjasa labde sarango anyan sevate tudangri mulamasadya sakshat kim kim vrini mahi. Just like when a honeybee gets parijat flower, he becomes so satisfied. He does not go anywhere. Anyan na sevate. Twadangri mulamasadya. A devotee, when he comes to the lotus feet of Krishna, he does not want to go anywhere else. Because that is the glory of the lotus feet of Krishna. The lotus feet of Krishna can satisfy all the desires. And therefore, all the gopis, when they saw, they drank the beauty of Krishna. They could not look anywhere else. And they gave up the distress. The whole day they were in separation from Krishna. They gave up that distress of separation just by looking at the beauty of Krishna. And Krishna, he accepted those loving glances and he smiled. Properly, he reciprocated with the gopis, he gave a wonderful smile. Chandrika Vishadasmere Saruna Pang Vikshatai Swakarthanam Ivaraja Sattvabhyam Srishtipalakai. When we take darshan of the beautiful form of the Lord glances on the devotee. The glance of the devotee creates a desire for service in the heart of a devotee. Glance of the Lord creates a desire for service. And when Lord smiles, the smile of the Lord protects the desire of the devotees for service. So therefore, this is our duty, just to be absorbed in taking darshan of the Lord, trying to hear the glories of the Lord, try to speak the glories of the Lord. In that way, our heart, our mind will become absorbed. The more we chant attentively, the more we will become close towards Krishna. Just like the gopis, when they would be so very absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. When the gopis, they would go to sell yogurt and butter, instead of telling everybody please take yogurt and butter, they would call Govind Damodar Madhava. Vikretu kama kilagopakanya murari padar pitachitta vrittihi दध्यादिकं मोहवशादवोचद् गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति. So they were calling Govinda Damodar Madhav. That's how they were absorbed. So that is the wonderful scene when Krishna is returning to Braja. So all the gopis, they would be so very morose that whole day we are not getting chance to see Krishna. And when they saw Krishna returning, they became so very enlivened. And then after describing the bliss of the young gopis, now Shukdev Goswami describes the bliss of the mothers. So Mother Yashoda and Rohini, when they received Krishna and Balram, they were so very happy. Affectionately, they offered all the best things to them. They would give whatever they desired according to the time, according to the place. So they would bathe Krishna, they would massage them, Krishna and Balram, then they would decorate them, put nice garments and put nice ornaments. They would feed the best of the things. They would put garlands, fragrances. And after dining sumptuously, Krishna would go to sleep. And then Shukdev Goswami starts another story. He says, once, as Krishna was surrounded by his friends, he went alone without Balram. So this day also Balramji was not there. In Brahma Vimohan Leela, Balramji was not there. And this day also Balramji was not there with him. So Krishna with his cowherd friends, they went to Yamuna. And Balramji, why he was not present? Again, that day was his birthday. So Rohini, Mother Rohini, she did not allow Balram to go. So because it was summer time, so all the cowherd boys and the cows, they were so very distressed because of the thirst. So they all went and drank water from Yamuna, but the water of Yamuna was poisoned. Actually, the cows drank the water first, and they actually became unconscious. And the cowherd boys, when they saw the cows are dead, they saw, but still they also drank the water because they were in so much separation. They wanted to give up their lives. So they also drank the water and they also died. They became unconscious externally. It was actually all Yogamaya which was working, because Yogamaya, the Leela Shakti of the Lord, wanted to do some pastimes. So apparently all the cows and the cowherd boys, they were dead. So when Krishna, when he saw all my cowherd boys and the cows are dead, he glanced on all of them and immediately revived them back. And they, when they got up, they were so very astonished because they knew, oh, we were dead. How we came back to life? Who brought us to life? So one friend is telling other, oh friend, do you know what is the secret? Other friend tells, I know the secret. Gargacharya had told that this son of yours, he had told to Nand Maharaj that this son of yours, he will protect us from all the dangers. Eshava Shreya Dasyat Gopa Gokul Anandana Anina Sarva Durgani Yuya Manjastarishyatha. That's how they were discussing. And ultimately they understood that, oh, Krishna revived us back. We all were dead. Krishna revived us back. And when Parikshit Maharaj, he heard this, sorry, so he became inquisitive and he asked a question which is there in the next chapter. So this is the end of the chapter. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So anybody has any questions, you can ask. So Krishna's education, see, in one of the purports, Prabhupada writes that for the Vaishyas, because Krishna, he's a Vaishya, he's there. Nanda Maharaj is a Vaishya. For Vaishyas, they are not required, they don't require to read all the, Dharma Shastras and all the things like Brahmanas or Kshatriyas. But they would be so very nicely engaged in taking care of the cows and the calves, and they would be so very expert in the trade, that they would get all the knowledge whatever was required to maintain them. In that way, that knowledge was given to them, not like today's education. Today's modern education, everybody has to go through the same cycle, whether you are a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, same thing for everyone. That was not the case in the earlier days. Everybody was given education according to their nature. So Krishna was not just given all the education like Brahmanas. Although he is the Supreme Lord, he does not need any education. So whatever was needed, he was given by Nanda Maharaj and all the elderly people of Praja. Okay. So any other question anybody has? Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat